Okay, multiplying and dividing integers is what we're going to focus on today, and this would be a quick video. But in order to succeed with multiplying and dividing integers, you first must be comfortable with the multiplication tables. You need to be comfortable with multiplying numbers. And I know that's something that some of you might struggle with still at this point, and that's perfectly okay. However, I'm not going to create a video on any multiplication or division facts or rules, but I will more than gladly help you out with those in class, or you can come see me during the tutoring time. I also post some videos on just basic multiplication and long division on Google Classroom. There won't be me teaching them. They'll be from Khan Academy. But you could review those videos as well if you're having issues with that. Okay? I'm just going to focus on the integer portion of multiplication and division. What happens when we multiply two positives? What happens when we multiply two negatives? And again, this is still review, so the chapter is 0.1. Let's take a note. So first of all, we need to recall what multiplication actually is. And multiplication is basically a faster way for us to add. It's repeated addition. So, for example, if I have 2 times 3, what I'm really doing is I'm adding 2 to itself 3 times. That's what multiplication is. It's repeated addition. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6, or 2 times 3 is 6, right? Now, if you notice, both of my integers here are positive. Okay, therefore, when I actually multiply these two numbers, I end up with a positive, right? Now, let's see what happens if instead of multiplying a positive with a positive, I multiply a negative with a positive. Let's say it's negative 2 times 3. Well, now I'm adding negative 2 by itself 3 times. And if you don't know how to add integers, please look over the last video I made. It was on adding integers. So we would just add all their absolute values, which would be 6, and we would keep the sign, which would be negative 6. Now notice, we have opposite signs here. We have a negative times a positive. That gives us a negative 6. And we're going to come up with a rule for this in a moment. And if we were to flip these two around, it'd be 3 times negative 2. It'd still be negative 6, because remember, multiplication is commutative. Now, what about if we have two negative numbers? Well, like negative 2 times negative 3. So here, the best way that I could tell you to remember this is anytime you have two negatives, they're going to cancel out and form a positive. Okay? Kind of like when we were doing the integer rules and we were subtracting by a negative number, it turned into a positive. That's the best thing I could tell you right now at this moment to remember this. Anytime we have a negative times a negative, we're going to end up with a positive numbers. You could think of it as the negatives canceling each other out. Okay? So negative 2 times negative 3 is just going to end up being positive 6. So if we look at this, when we have the same signs, right, when they were both positive or when they were both negative, our answers were both positive. When we had different signs, our answer was negative. So here's the rule right down. Same signs, you're always going to have a positive answer when you're multiplying or dividing integers. It works either way. So 2 positives are going to multiply and give you a positive. 2 positives are going to divide and give you a positive. 2 negatives are going to multiply and give you a positive. 2 negatives are going to divide and give you a positive. Different signs, you're always going to get a negative number as your answer when you are finding the product or the quotient. Okay, two integers with different signs multiplied by each other would give you a negative number. 2 integers with different signs divided by each other would also give you a negative number. So here we have negative 3 times negative 8. So 2 negative integers multiplied with each other, that would give you a positive number. A negative times a negative is a positive. So this would just be positive 24. And again, review those multiplication facts if you struggle with doing this in your head. That's perfectly okay if you do. But I just want you to maybe look over a multiplication table and try to memorize these. 7 times negative 12. So here we have 2 integers with different signs, which means our answer is going to be negative. Okay, and that would be negative 84 would be our answer, because 7 times 12 is 84. Okay, and last but not least, 5 times 16. Those are both positive, so that would just be a positive 80, because 5 times 16 is 80, and that's it. 2 positives will be a positive answer. 2 negatives will be a positive answer. Different signs, positive and a negative, negative answer. Negative and a positive, negative answer. And the same rules apply to division. And we'll focus more on division tomorrow. But this is really what I want you to try to memorize. I want you to write this down in your notes. Whenever you're multiplying two positive integers, you're always going to get a positive. Whenever you multiply two negative integers, you're always going to get a positive. Whenever you multiply integers with different signs, you're always going to get a negative. And whenever you multiply integers with different signs, you're always going to get a negative. I think I just repeated myself, but very important to remember that. Also, don't confuse it with what we did yesterday. If you recall from yesterday, when we added two integers that were negative, we got a negative answer. But that's addition. Addition's a bit different. When we're multiplying two integers that are negative, we're going to get a positive answer. So try not to confuse the two. Really study up on that, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Or if you need some extra help, come to tutoring in the morning. I'll be more than happy to help you. But that's it for tonight's video. I will see you tomorrow. Make sure you have these notes with you. Have an awesome day.